بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم اللهم آمين وبعد. We shared last night some of the rulings of sujood, prostration. And before I get into prostration, I actually want to talk about a mas'ala that should have been addressed about qiyam, about standing. And this is the mas'ala of how to straighten the rows. This mas'ala oftentimes is a topic of dispute. And so most people, what they commonly believe that to be straightening the rows means what? Shoulder to shoulder, feet to feet, as narrated in the hadith. And the majority of our ulama don't understand it in that literal sense. The four madhahib, they say straightening the rows is the connecting of shoulders and the alignment of the feet, not the connecting of the feet. So according to the madhahib, they don't encourage the connecting of feet. Some later scholars took the position that you should connect the feet, but the early scholars did not. The majority of them at least did not recommend connecting the feet. They said straightening the rows means to connect your shoulders. And so oftentimes people pray together and some people want to connect their feet and other people don't. In the Hanafi school especially, I think it's discouraged or frowned upon. And so somebody will try to stretch out their feet, try to connect with the brother, and the brother is not, comfortable. He's like, give me my space. And so this is something we need to be aware of. If somebody wants to connect the feet and that's their personal preference, that's fine, but they shouldn't pass their area of prayer and try to connect their feet with other people and force that on them. Because the majority of our scholars don't actually recommend the connecting of the feet. What they recommend is the connecting of the shoulders. And so that's an important mas'ala that should be understood and have respect for the different opinions of our scholars. The second mas'ala that I want to add with regards to the qiyam, and if anybody has a question, this is surprising maybe for some people, and so if you're surprised by this, just do a little bit of research. You will find that the majority of our classical ulama of the four madhahib, they are the opinion that when the hadith mention, the shoulders and the feet, they say it's the connecting of the shoulders. The shoulders should touch, but they say the feet don't necessarily have to touch. And there's reasoning and rationale they use, but now is not the time to discuss their arguments for that. The second mas'ala is if you join the salah late and you are in a row by yourself, what do you do? And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to you're not supposed to stand in a row by yourself. That's frowned, that's disliked. To pray in a saf, an individual pray in a saf, in jama'ah is disliked. And so if a person enters the jama'ah and there's nobody in the next saf, and the first saf is full, the first row is full, they're supposed to grab one person from the first row and pull them back to stand with them. And so most people don't know this. A brother was telling me a story the other day. He said, I came and I grabbed the brother and he was upset. Why did you pull me out the row, right? He's like, I was in the first row. And so, so this is uncommon knowledge. A lot of people don't know that's what you're supposed to do. They just think, well, you come to prayer, khalas. Whatever is available, the space that's available, you pray. By yourself or with another, doesn't really matter. And the sunnah is you're actually supposed to never stand in a row by yourself. So either somebody stands with you. If there's nobody to stand with you, you don't see anybody coming, then you pull somebody from the first row. And so if somebody does pull you back, don't get upset, inshallah. Some contemporary scholars added that if you believe that most likely people will be joining the jama'ah, like people are coming in, then they said, okay, you don't have to pull anyone because you're not going to be standing too long by yourself. So that is an advice that some scholars have added, which is fair and reasonable. And so I'm not, I just want to bring this mas'ala to our attention. If somebody does pull you, and because they don't want to stand in the saf by themselves, even if it's just for a brief moment for rak'ah, don't be offended by that. Don't be disturbed by that. Go back. The believers are brothers. We don't leave one believer standing in prayer by himself. And this is an important mas'ala for the women, because oftentimes the emphasis of straightening the rows and closing the gaps is overlooked by sisters more than it is by brothers. By brothers, because the imam is there, and so he reminds them, and if he sees a gap, the imam will encourage people to close the gaps. But with the sister side, maybe it's that reminder is not there and not as strong. And so with the women, same ruling stands. You shouldn't pray in a saf by yourself. You're supposed to pray with the first row and then the second row and so on and so forth. And if the row is full, then you create a second row, but you still don't stand by yourself. You're supposed to stand with somebody beside you. And so this is an important sunnah to be aware of. And the last mas'ala I would like to address for the night is the mas'ala of sujood, which we started speaking about last night. We mentioned that sujood has to be made on 7 limbs according to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. أُمِرْتُ أَنْ أَسْجُدَ عَلَى سَبْعَةِ أَعْظُمٍ. I have been commanded to prostrate on 7 limbs. And so these limbs are, we said, the forehead, and we said the forehead includes the face, the forehead and the nose. And we said the forehead must be exposed. The forehead should be exposed, and according to the Shafi'i school, it is wajib. The forehead, the part of the forehead, the skin of the forehead must touch the ground in the Shafi'i school. In the other schools, they don't see it as a wajib, but they see it as a highly recommended or as something that is preferred, but they don't see it as wajib. All of this, again, it emphasizes the importance of what are the bare skin of our foreheads touching the floor. And we mentioned there's a hadith, there's an ayah. Allah says, سِيمَاهُمْ فِي وُجُوهِهِمْ مِنْ أَثَرِ السُّجُودِ. The example of the companions of Rasulullah ﷺ is what? They are distinguished by the traces of sujood on their faces. So the sujood and the touching of the forehead on the floor and it leaving a sujood mark over the years, because you make sujood over a long time. For not everybody, but oftentimes they will leave some type of mark on the forehead. And so this is something praiseworthy. This is something praiseworthy. This is something noble. This is an identifying quality of the believers. And so all of this emphasizes the importance of what, when one making sujood, their foreheads should be uncovered and not let their imam or kofi or anything of that sort cover their forehead. And so I just wanted to share that again to emphasize that point. And we said again with the sujood, the nose is included. And this is again, is in the hadith. When the Prophet said, he said the forehead, and he indicated the nose as well. So contrary to East Asian culture or in religion and just common knowledge, a lot of people don't think the nose is included when you make sujood. And the nose must touch the ground as well. Again, in the Shafi'i school, they see it as a fard. They said this is you can't negotiate with this requirement. You must make sujood with your nose, or otherwise your sujood is invalid. And therefore, if the nose doesn't touch the floor, the entire salah becomes invalidated. And so it's a serious matter. It's a serious matter. And so that's something we need to be mindful of. I'll close with these messages just for the sake of time, inshallah ta'ala. And tomorrow we'll conclude the ahkam on sujood bi-idhnillah ta'ala.